Welcome, welcome back. Welcome back. This is always weird for me of how do you start a conversation.
Hello. Hi, my name is Marisha.
I get it, but I'm just saying, like, welcome back. This is, I don't know. I want to figure out a way to start that's not like templated. You know what I mean? Like, everybody
Okay.
starts the same, but like, how can we start different? I don't know. It may not be but I'm Antoine.
I'm Marisha.
And this is the Great Unknown Tour podcast where we um, are going to, we are interviewing people. We're interviewing people about navigating faith and uncertainty,
Mm-hmm.
to embrace the adventure that God has for us.
Mm-hmm.
And we're revving up, we're preparing for a tour. So this podcast is called the Great Unknown Tour because we're going on a tour in America for a year, and we're going to interview other families, other couples about navigating faith and uncertainty in order to embrace their adventure with God. And
Mm-hmm.
right now we're in preparation mode. So today we're going to cover. Why you look at that smile? You're looking at me like he's doing the thing.
What thing?
The like, you turn to a professional.
Oh, not what I was
Oh.
thinking.
Um, Today we're talking about what?
Nothing. I'm just here listening.
When I start talking and you laugh, it's hard to be like,
I'm
just ignore it.
smiling. I'm engaging. I'm listening.
Today we're doing an update from our last episode where we talked about working through eviction,
Yes.
bills needed to be paid, fundraising, the RV. We wanted to give an update of all those things, where we are in the journey to securing the RV, where we are in leaving our apartment, where we are in packing, selling things.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's where we're going to hit today. So, first, give you some updates. Our website is
Oh,
live.
yay.
What'd you think about the website?
What do I think about it?
Yeah.
I think it's great. I think you did a great job.
What do you like about it? It's not
Simple
about.
to the point.
Yes.
Cute.
The URL is
Simple to the point.
tgutour.com. If you're listening to this instead of watching it on YouTube, it's T as in Tom, G as in gangster, U as in university, tour.com, tgutour.com. And on
Yes.
there, you'll find what we're doing, why we're doing this, all the different ways that you can support.
Mm-hmm.
We have financial ways you can support, spiritual ways you can support. We have ways you can support our businesses, our entrepreneurs, and social, like just sharing what we're doing. So, go ahead.
And just connecting with us, because a big part of this for us is just making connections and
For
having
sure.
community. So if you're just like, hey, I just wanted to say what's up because I heard this or that and I connected with it, like we'd love to hear that and just connect with you on your journey as well.
Hey.
So
Yes, for sure. So the website is up, super exciting. Then we also
TikTok.
Are you excited about that?
I think it's hilarious.
Why do you think it's hilarious?
Because I remember seeing it like on the website, like TikTok to come, and I'm like, "We're getting a TikTok," and you're like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Okay."
Well, I mean,
I'm not on a lot of social media, so to be on TikTok is just funny for me.
Well, I love media. You
We
know
got to
that.
do a dance. That's what I think in my head. Like we got to do a dance if we have a TikTok. We should do that though.
Yeah, I definitely want to do that. But that was more like 2020 that they were doing the dances. once more people got on, they started realizing all the other ways you could utilize the space.
What's it most popular for now?
Oh, I don't know. I've just really immersed. I've been dabbling the last couple of years, but I'm immersed now. It's what you see. I think a lot of tutorials, but they don't come off as like tutorials, right? Like there was this lady, looked like, grandma age. Like I mean, she's an actual grandma, and she was like teaching you how to clean out your washer, like a washer filter. And I didn't know there was a filter on the washer.
Oh.
That was like super dope. Man,
Okay.
I'm showing my age that's dope. But you got parenting tips, like the woman we follow on Instagram who does the gentle parenting tips. Like she's on there, or it's a lot on there.
Gotcha.
It's actually, as much as people hate on it, it's an amazing app. Now, in terms of like people's attention and the incessant scrolling they can go on, like, yeah, but in terms of like what you can get on there as a user, if you actually set boundaries with like how much you look at and like what you look at, it's actually really cool, and you can get a lot of information and entertainment, because like people on there are like amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a TikTok.
What else is new?
We talked about fundraising. Well, kind of. We launched our fundraising, which is on our website. And really, we're looking for monthly partnerships for the tour, because we're not going to do this without help. We can't do this alone. God has given us this conviction to do this tour, and we want to partner with you. We want to partner with anybody who wants to help other people embrace their adventure with God, because we're going to get the RV, we're going to travel, and this thing is going to touch so many people, and you're going to be able to say that you had a hand in it, because when we look out and in our friend group and then just around different people we meet, we see that people are afraid to risk, not risk it all for God, but like trust God mostly. Like trusting God feels like a risk. Like when it comes to what we're doing, we didn't start off this year like, yo, we should do a tour. That'd be super fire. Like,
Right.
I got fired from my job.
We were like, what are we going to do?
We found ourselves in this situation where we were facing eviction. And in that time, God spoke into that and asked us to trust him in a way that we were like, what?
Yeah.
And to do this tour.
It didn't make sense. It sounded exciting, but it didn't make sense once we started researching and thinking about like practical needs. And it was like, okay, God, is this like over like in 5 years do this, or like
That's
just
good.
our own desire, like if we could do anything? And after we sat with it, we were like, nah, like this is not if we could do anything, what we would do. It sounds exciting, and it was cool. Like when we first got married by ourselves, it was difficult, but yet exciting and a lot of fun, very rewarding. And we always said we would do it again, but we would have to do it very different, with or without kids. But now we have 2 toddlers, 2 and 4, and they have so much stuff. Not excessive, but just like they're 2 kids, like not a girl and a boy. So like there's boy stuff, girl stuff, all the stuff, just stuff. And then wanting to make them feel comfortable, like taking all this stuff into consideration, I was like, nah, we can't do it. Like after researching and thinking about it. And then the tug kept coming from God, like on both of our hearts. Like if it was just me, that's one thing, but it was, both of us. And like when I was down, like, nah, it's not going to work, Antoine was like, but God did this, and this is a new thing, and not a new thing, but like, guess what God told me today in prayer? And it would be about like, do Marisha's idea. Like the same time I'm like, nah, I guess this wasn't God. Like, I guess this was just like a bad idea. And then the tables would turn where I'm like super excited, like, let's sell all our stuff. I have the plan. This is what the wisdom God gave me. Just sell all our stuff because we're not going to need it anyway. And with that money, we'll do this and do that. And then we won't have to pay for storage and we won't have to pay for it to be shipped somewhere. And like during that time, Antoine, like almost, he literally walked out the room, was just like, no, I'm not trying to hear that right now. I'm not trying to do this. So it was like the way God was working. Now that I'm saying it too, is pretty cool the way he had each of us encourage the other one when we were not encouraged. And then at times, many times, just be really on one accord with it and melt into like God's vision, like collectively, instead of this is how I would do it, this is how I would do it, what is God saying? But I feel like it's a merger of like the three of us, which is pretty cool. So I'm excited about it because of that, more so than all the things that I think could go wrong. And
For sure.
so it's the first time doing it. So yes, we would love support, any advice, any anything and everything.
Yeah.
Did I go off on a tangent?
No.
Okay.
I mean, the point of this is to talk.
That's right.
So,
love talking.
but yeah, no, that's good. I think with our last tour, we were talking about this before we got on today, but before our last tour, we didn't talk about the journey at all, really. Before, you know what I mean? And it was so much before, and I think it was probably because I felt shame in the moment, right? Like, man, I guess I'm supposed to say it. Before we did the first tour, where if you haven't listened to any other episodes, we did a tour 6 years ago. Man, it's almost 7 years. 6 years ago, where we got married December 2015. January, we hopped in the 1999 Oldsmobile Cutlass and drove around the country for a year. 30 cities, 21 states, teaching students about purpose and identity. I would do hip-hop concerts and she would do dance workshops, and that's how we would teach. And we did all that at no cost to the organizations. And the only money we had, not the only money we had, the money we started with was money that people gave us
At our wedding.
At our wedding in lieu of wedding gifts. And so...
And then from then on out, it was just donations from people.
Yeah, donations. And so...
People letting us stay at their house.
Yeah, Airbnb.
Feeding us.
Yep. And so... Before that, we never talked about, I don't know, we haven't talked about it on the platform, but before we got married, like, I was couch hopping from different friends because I knew that we planned to do the tour. But, like, you know, for 3 months, I was just sleeping in different friends' houses on the floor, on an air mattress, one time in a friend's closet that was, like, connected to his bathroom.
Oh, my gosh.
It
just sounds terrible.
Well, it was tough. Oh, it was tough, but I was grateful because, number one, I was doing it so that I could marry you and preparing for the tour. So, I mean, it was worth it. It was hard, though. But, again, the hope of the future is what kept me not sad about it. And so, so we didn't even... That's how I
feel about selling stuff now. Sorry, but go on. Like, it makes me sad to sell the stuff. Like, at first I was like, sell it all. Right. Sell everything. But now that it's going, I'm like, ah.
Yeah. And so, I'm happy and grateful that we get to talk about this journey before it is even there, because a lot of times you don't want to talk about it because you're like, I don't want to talk about it before it happens. And it's like, let's take people on the journey.
Yeah, I agree. And mostly, like, I remember that time it was like, and this is just one example, but a great one to go off of. You feel like you're not doing it the right way or the way that everyone else did it or is expecting.
That's good.
And, when you get married, you should have all this money saved up and you should have had a place to live should have had this and had that and, thought about this. But if it's like you are where you are. And so if you want to get married, you can't go back in time or like, I'm going to start planning now. And in 5 years, we're going to get married. It's like, as a Christian too, like, I don't know many Christians that are waiting around 5 years. And
that are not having
and still,
sex.
like, if you don't have that information, you don't know to wait for that information. You know what I mean? For whatever opportunity or wisdom needs to be had. And so we were doing the best we could do and relying on God.
Just do that.
And that's not a high. Oh, I could have gone there like this. I was like, that's not a high five. And relying
Everybody
on God.
listening, we were like figuring out how to do a high five on camera.
Yes.
You said, and that's not God.
Huh?
You said figuring it out. You said if you wait 5 years, you may not be able to. You don't know what you don't know.
Mm-hmm. Right. So for us, I remember feeling like this is our one opportunity. And it just felt like trying to squeeze.
To get married or do the tour?
Do the tour.
Gotcha.
Because it was like, yeah, we can get married, but where are we gonna live? What are we gonna do? Like, all of this was like coming out ahead. And so the tour, when I first heard it, I was like, this is crazy and crazy timing, but it's an answer, you know what I mean, to at least my prayer of like,
For
God,
sure.
like,
That's
we
good.
just need like something for the after.
Yeah.
We need something. And so I feel like, I don't know if I have the right words for it right now, but just like being squeezed into this tiny, tiny little like hole of an opening where it's like, you come from having all these options to like you're walking closer and closer to your destiny and closer to where God wants you to be. And it looks like the walls are closing in on you. And you're like, God, I thought you were supposed to be opening up like the heavens and like opening up all these opportunities. And so that was, for me at least, like, in like sharing the story or being like, God is doing something amazing. It didn't look like it.
Yeah.
Because it looked like things were getting smaller and tighter and less money and less less everything. But I had more peace and I felt closer to God than ever before.
Yeah.
So with this and like you losing your job and then facing like just the eviction and the bills and stuff, it's like, God, the more we say yes to you, it feels like the walls are closing in. It feels like there's more pressure and like the path is even more narrow rather than like, okay, we said yes and now this huge job, all these job opportunities are coming and all this stuff is coming and we've got all this abundance, you know what I mean? Like when I think of abundance, and it's not. It doesn't always work that way or have the look of it, you know what I mean? But the feeling and I guess my experience with my relationship with God is that this is still the right way to go. You know what I mean? Even though it feels that way, I wouldn't turn back because I feel like before closer to God and closer to like free, mentality wise and just internally, but also spiritually, like where I'm supposed to be. And individually and as a family, like if there's even a difference. So.
Yeah. Since you talk about being squeezed, SQUOZEN.
SQUOZEN.
That just, I mean, it just, well, let me go back a little bit because I agree with you. Like thinking about, we did our wedding for $1,000. You know what I mean? And like, friends helped out in all the different ways, and I don't think I even paid for my tux. Like I didn't have the money for the tux. Like if people didn't give us money for our wedding, we wouldn't have had any money after we got married. You know what I mean? I was doing freelance work, but like we wouldn't have had. It would have been tough. And so, even to your point, thinking about it now, I didn't think about that. Of like, I mean, this whole 10 months has been like, get released from the job. Like we've been processing it as God releasing me from the job, right? And so, get released from the job, and it's just like, okay, I'm hurt, but we'll figure it out. Like we'll get another job. And then I just remember thinking like, okay, it's going to be over soon. And it wasn't over soon. And it kept not being over. And I was just like, how long? Like, I just can't wait for this to be over. And I was just not really sitting in it because I was just like, okay, I'm just going to do this because it's going to be over soon. And I just remember being like, man, I don't know when it's going to end. And then I kind of learned a new way of living. And I would say we have learned a new way of living in this season of like just living very differently that, actually has humbled me of like, man, we're living in a way that like I look down upon, not consciously, but like, I may have seen people struggle, families struggle, and it's easy to say like, why don't you get it together? Why don't you spend your money like this? Or why don't you make these kind of decisions? Or why don't you even eat better? You know what I mean? And like right now it's like, well, if you have $3,000 worth of bills that are due next week and you need food, what are you going to buy? Right? Like, or, you know what I mean? What are you going to buy? Or if you need to sell, we sold the Peloton, like working out's going to look differently. Right?
Right.
So you may not be able to do the same workouts or go as hard, or, clothes, like seeing that the kids need clothes. You know what I mean? Just like, dang, like I can see, like, man, I need clothes, And so just all these things, to your point of like being squeezed together, like seeing like the car needs work, like, like just being squeezed together, and it feels like this is not God. Like this is not, like I'm tripping, we're tripping, something like, God, what am I missing here? What am I not doing? What scriptural application have I gotten wrong?
Yeah.
And that's why I'm thankful for you. That's why I'm thankful for our small group, because like they'll encourage us and be like, no, I know this. We don't know what this is. Well, none of us know what this is, but we don't think you're wrong. We think that, like this is consistent with God, and He's been showing up, and God has shown up every single time. God has been extremely faithful. God has been just wonderful. Like this has been, I used to feel self-conscious about saying this because I didn't know if you felt like this, but for me, it's like God has I feel like just made me a new man in so many ways, and a new husband, and like help me to let go, really just took it out of me, or like forced it out of me because of this situation, like caring so much what people thought about, like, yes, I'm always like, yes, I follow you, God. And in the back of my mind, it's always like, what are these people that I'm close to going to say my parents or friends I respect, or like
Yeah.
I said in another episode. And so, man, that is so good. Excuse me. I never processed it like that. Like, we're getting closer to what God's asking us to do, but it feels like we're getting like squeezed together, which is, you hear some of the euphemisms in Christianity of like as dark as before the dawn, or, Silent Saturday, like when Jesus was buried,
Mm-hmm.
or, before he rose. Like, you hear those kind of things, but like it's so different living them.
Yeah, because it's not like today, oh, it's dark, and then the next day, the morning comes. It's like a season of, like
Yes.
like you said, it's
Of like a
almost
month.
been a year. Like it's been like 10 months. And like we have practical needs and kids. So like there's been many times where we've eaten the last hard-boiled egg or the last piece of bread or the last, there's no more milk. And the kids, for those of you who have kids, like especially toddlers, when they have their like favorites,
Yeah.
that's all
and
they
their,
want.
And the food routine. You know what I mean?
Yes, the snack, and then this. Where's this kind of snack? Where's that? And so you're like, man. But God has come through every time. Like I remember, we have never gone hungry. Like it'll just happen where someone will send us money at the right time, or call and say, hey, I'm going to the store. Do you guys need anything? Or you'll take the kids out and happen to be parked in the parking lot of a food bank. Remember that one time?
Mm-hmm.
It
I was dropping off a package and took the kids to give you a break.
Yeah.
And my tenant and I had seen houses while we were driving that we liked. So I was like, let's go back that way to look at those houses. And on that way back, and I felt like God was saying, take that way. And so then we saw like you said, on the way, a church was doing like a food drive. And I drove past, like the double take and like hurried up to the parking lot.
Right on time. Like every time. And so he hasn't failed us. It's just been like different occasions and experiences like that. And then also like us looking back, like over the months, seeing like, oh, there's a pattern here. Oh, here is God. Like this is God for sure. And he's like not going to let us fail and not going to let us go. But this is a reality, and like this is what is happening. And like we have to just go
like
go
this
through
is
it.
where we are.
Go through it. And he's not saying like in a month this is going to happen. He's just saying go through it.
Walk with me, yeah.
Walk with me, and we just keep walking. And so like with the eviction, it's like a squeeze, because that could have sent us like packing real quick, going to live back with parents or just getting any old kind of job.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say like God tests you to see like what are you gonna do.
No,
but I feel
think,
like it was a how serious are you? You know what I mean?
I totally think it's a. Do you mind if I interrupt?
No, go ahead.
I totally think. I mean, we see that precedent biblically, not spelled out that way, but like the test.
Like, are you gonna trust me? Like,
yeah, like even more so. Like, let me reveal to you what I've built in you. Also,
yeah,
not like let me show you where you need to grow, which that's revealed. But like also let me show you what I've put in you.
yeah.
That is like I'm going to refine that in this season like that. So I'm saying, so I just wanted to affirm what you're saying about the test. Like,
yeah,
like I think that's right on. They hit the nail right on the head.
Yeah. Okay.
And I mean, while we're on the topic of the eviction, like we touched on it last time, and we still been walking through that of like receiving the notices. Like there was one time when it first started happening, we received like notices, all types of letters, like
once a week.
once
or
a week,
something.
and I was just crumbling,
Stressed.
just crumbling. Like what do we do? And it's the debt has gotten up to like 16 grand, and before it would have, that would have just crumbled me. Like it would have just crumbled me. But now it's like, okay, God, what do you want to do? Like, how do you want us to do this? I believe you're going to erase it. Like, is it a new client that I'm going to get? Is it, this rent relief? We apply for a rent relief program. Like,
and
what
then
is
unemployment?
unemployment? Like,
that's another thing. Like, throw an eviction in there. Like God. Okay, so God can send, like, miraculously drive by a food bank. Friends and family have blessed us so much.
Yes.
And we've never gone hungry. Kids have never gone hungry, and
No.
never without like diapers or something to wear or things that they needed ever. And we know that that's God. And so we know that he could do something with the rent. But you know what I mean? It's like the one thing that's like just thrown there in the mix. And then
almost like, will you still have joy if I don't take away this thing? Like, will you still have hope? Will you still go into your marriage and love each other well? Will you still treat the children with respect and kindness? Will you still go to church? Will you still take care of yourself? Will you still, read the Bible? Will you still honor me and your commitment to me, even though it looks like things are getting worse by the day?
Yeah. And then having applied for unemployment and rent relief early on in the year.
No. I applied for unemployment last December.
Right, but I'm so okay. So last
Sorry.
last December, and then rent relief like
June,
or like early, like not late at all is what my point is basically.
Gotcha.
Like early on, and just not heard back, giving the runaround, like all of these things. With that, like we're just, I don't want to say like, well, I'm sure other people have experienced it, unfortunately, which is awful. But I feel like it was almost a special case for us to where like he would call and they'd be like, oh, your case has been closed. You have to do it again to reopen it. And he'd be like, what? So you have to do the whole thing over again. Then call back. Case has been closed. Like just random stuff. And then we got to do all this just back and forth for 10 months.
For 10 months.
It's just like, okay. And then at the end,
and
like
no one knows. Everyone's
point,
like, we don't know why.
Like,
we don't know why your unemployment benefits haven't been dispersed. We see it here. We see the money here. We don't know why. We have no idea why. It's.
I say crazy, but also like I think even that is in the hands of God, And then so it gets down to having to go to court for the eviction.
Mm-hmm.
Were you gonna tell this?
Yeah.
Going to court, and we're thinking like, oh, okay, what if like all the money just comes in now? Like at one time,
the day
like
before.
That sounds like the day before. Like that sounds like God. Like it all comes so we
late
can
in the midnight
pay
hour.
this off and have a big chunk to get started on the tour. And they even notify us and say, your money should be in like this day, which was like 2 days before the court date.
The like eviction court, like going to go to the court to see like, yo, are you gonna get evicted or not?
And so we're like, oh, we're about to get it. Like it's about to all
we gotta
just
get the
come.
money. There's no way God is gonna let us get evicted and this be on our record.
Oh man, you could finish the story.
You could say what you want to say.
Well, I'm not the one that like went. So that time comes and the money doesn't come through. Like that Monday comes, that Tuesday comes.
Yeah, I'm stressed.
And
Depressed.
Wednesday is the court, and we decided not to go, like, as a family.
Yeah. I'm glad
So
we
I
didn't.
stayed home with the kids instead of having to, like, have
Yeah.
everyone there. And so he just went.
I didn't even tell you, but you can't take food or drink even in the building. So that would have been horrible for the children.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And you got to be like quiet. Like, yeah, it was a good decision. I thought it was going to be like, I guess I've been watching too much TV, like, you know, Just Judy or something where you go in and they ask you, like, so why are you doing this? Like, why is this happening? It wasn't none of that, y'all. I don't know if you ever been to eviction hearing. None of that, at least in Maryland. It ain't none of that. We went in, it was 500 cases. Maybe 60 people were there, and they read it, talk about the debt. Are they there? If they're not there, the judge ruled against them, against the plaintiff? No, the person who's in debt. The plaintiff, whatever. Somebody, lawyer, put it in the comments what I should have said. And so for me, I'm like, man, maybe, I don't know, God's going to show up in a crazy way or something. But quickly I was like, I don't know how this is going to happen because they're not even giving anybody a chance to talk. It's like they're asking the other lawyer for the for the apartment building, like, have they paid? They, like, if they say no, then she just rules against you. But she was nice, though. She was a really kind woman.
So you're in the room watching
other people, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, she was really kind, and everybody has the same look. Everyone has the same look, like, just sad, like, I don't want to be here. And it's all different types of people. And so I go, and same thing, like, does the person owe this much? Yep. Have they paid it? Nope. You know, I'm going to rule against it, but cool thing is, I'm grateful for is she said there's people down a few halls working on rent relief. I guess people from the organization. And because I stamped, so the stamp means they say, so I just thought like eviction. So let me back up. I thought eviction was like you didn't pay your rent. They put the sign on your door. You're evicted and then you got to get out. It's like a very long process, actually. Our court date, this eviction.
It might have been longer because of COVID.
Yeah, but it's still, they give you a notice, they give you another notice, they file with the court, you have to go to court, and then, like, it's still steps. I just thought it was like, you got to get out. Like, I thought it was that.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
And so, so she says the rent relief people are down the hall. If you show them that, so the ruling for the apartment is so for them to repossess the property. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, we can't let that happen. Like, we haven't left yet, like, blah, blah, blah. But I asked the woman, the judge, like, yo, what's the timeline after this ruling? She was like, well, they have to file for the repossession at the court, and they can't do it until 5 business days after today, which would have been this past Wednesday. And then after that, it could be 3 to 4 weeks, depending on the sheriff's calendar of, like, you know, when they come to, like, basically take all your stuff out, kick you out. And so I was like, dang, like, number one, you know, we got the ruling for them to repossess the property, so feeling super vulnerable here, like, with the kids, like, what the heck are we going to do? We're almost out, but, like, it still is like, we don't have the unemployment money, lump sum of money. We don't have, like, I'm getting clients, but it just isn't enough to meet, like, all the needs that we have currently because of the debt that we've accrued. And so, like, what the... In my mind, it's like, I'm wrong. We were wrong. This whole thing was wrong. This whole 9 months I'm an idiot. Like, this is God wasn't speaking to me. I am a fool. This is it. This is it. This is it. I don't know what we're gonna do, and I was wrong. That's how I was feeling. And so, but I went down to the rent relief lady, to the women down there, and I'm like, yo, you know, I gave her my name. I think she found my stuff, and she was like, you know, you should have a caseworker soon. And so it's still like I went home. I was just in shock for like a day. Like I couldn't think. I couldn't. I
Yes, you were.
couldn't.
It's not funny, but yes, you were. Like if you could imagine someone, or I mean, if you've never been like just walking around quiet with a blank look on their face.
Well, it's just, I mean, it's like, what the, I didn't expect that. I expected God to come through, right? I don't believe that he's not, but I was like, he's going to come through like this, you know? And so it's just like, dang, God, like, it's like the Lazarus situation. Like, my man's Lazarus died. If you don't know the story of Lazarus in the Bible, Jesus' friend Lazarus died, and someone came and told him, and he like didn't go right away. And when they got there, it's like, yo, bruh, like he wouldn't have died if you would have came when we told you he was sick, dog. And then Jesus raised him from the dead. But he raised him from the dead later on the fourth day because his body would have been decayed and stinking and stuff. And so it showed God's power because he's definitely dead at that point, you know? And so here I'm like, I mean, I know that story, but that don't feel good. Like, I'm not putting my, I'm not putting my hope in that. Like, they supposed to come, you know, try to get the house and stuff. Like, I can't put my hope in, like, maybe he gonna treat me like Lazarus. I mean, I do have that hope, but it feels foolish to hope for the Lord to do that with kids and all that. It just feels like sitting ducks. Like, this is stupid, you know?
Yeah.
But God. And so, over the next period of time, like, I think I prayed. I don't know what I did. Maybe it's just I had to come to the realization, like, he wasn't going to do it that way. And I need to get over it. And we need to, again, come back to God and say, well, what you want to do, God?
What do you want? What you
want to do? Because,
bro,
I'm so confused. Oh, no. Yes and no. We talked to our community group the next day, and they helped. They helped, like, strengthen me back up and poured into me. And the word that God was saying to me before then, but then even through them, was like, finish out the plan of fundraising, all the stuff you had planned that I told you, right? Because we sat down and God gave us a plan. So, like, finish out the plan that I gave you. Ain't say nothing about no eviction, nothing about none of that. He was like, just finish out the plan. All right, God.
Yeah, like he doesn't talk to the dying thing. He talks to I don't know where I'm going with that. Let me wait on that. But like to the issue for us that we're going to God about, sometimes he doesn't answer that question, but he'll answer another question. Like he'll say, like, do what I've told you to do. A lot. Like, what have I told you to do? Like, for me, it's packing and decluttering. And I'm like, how am I packing if we have nowhere to go? But I'm up here still selling things, still packing, and I don't know, like, what I'm packing for. You know, it's just hard. Like, if I know, like, I'm packing for an RV and this type of RV, then I can, like, pack certain way and know how much to give away, how much, you know. But it's just like a whole, just trust God, like, step by step each day, and walk as close with him as possible to keep my peace and sanity.
Go ahead.
That was it.
I was going to say, I want to say, also I noticed in my Tanner's room tonight, today, sometime, that things were packed up in the plastic containers where they were on the floor the other day. And the only thing left was the books.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
For context, Montana is like, I want to keep everything. And so I've been kind of nudging Marisha, like, hey, let's start doing her stuff, because, like, everything here, if we need to bang it out in a night, we could. We wouldn't want to, but we could. But, like, Montana's is different because it's like a tugging,
like
a
sentimental.
pull. Yeah. She's like, I don't want to give this away, even though it's broken, right? Or something doesn't work. She's like, I don't want to give it away. Like, which I mean, I get it definitely at her age, you know? Because you don't know. You haven't lived life long enough to know that you're going to get more, and you love the stuff that you have, you know? So, yeah, great job.
Thank you.
And so after after that, we just decided to keep moving forward. Didn't know, like, we have no idea. Like, bruh, I don't
Yeah.
even, God, I don't know what's going on. And so, and so we just kept, so I sent the rent relief like an email with the judgment, tell them like, yo, this is what's happening. I want to follow up with you all. And then I reached out to, I started checking on unemployment again. Like, hey, y'all said that we were getting money. It's going to be backdated. Like, what's up, y'all? And kept getting the runaround. With rent relief, just wait on them to respond because there's only a general number they give you. And they said I was going to have a caseworker. So I just needed to just wait for the caseworker. And so with the unemployment, though, this past week, I made it up in my mind. I watched a sermon last Sunday, 2 sermons, and they got me hype, like fortified in the Lord. And I was like, I'm going to call unemployment, and I'm going to tell them, we're going to figure this out today. Y'all not going to give me the runaround. I'm going to figure this out today. I'm not getting off this phone until we figure this out. And I had planned, honestly, to be like, I'll stay on this phone until we find somebody who can figure this out, because I've been doing this for 10 months, and we just had this judgment of repossession of our apartment, and this money is really going to help us if the rent relief doesn't come through. Like, at least we can, like, look for, get a place or figure something out. But, like, we got to figure this out, because y'all said I can see the money when I sign in.
Right.
And what's the issue? What's the issue? And if I'm not going to get unemployment, just let me know. But stop telling me that it's just sitting and you don't know why. Yeah.
Right. I'm proud of you.
And so
you come a long way. That's awesome too.
Thank you, babe. And so I went in like that. Humbly and assertive. You know what I mean? Like, indignant a little bit, but like,
you're a gentleman.
Trying to be kind about it. But I told the person, like, hey, I know it's not your fault, and I've been talking to a lot of people you can probably see on my file, but like, we gotta figure this out today, basically. And it was a black woman on the phone, so I think she was having maybe a stress out day, or was like, who you think you talking to? And so she kind of, pushed back, like I have experienced black women pushing back. But again, like, it's a social services, so it's like, they're probably, it seems like, well, I'll say this. We got into conversation later, and she said the only reason she was on the phone was because they needed help. But in talking to her, she was like, yeah, they should have told you this information. This is why nothing is happening on your end. Like, this information is wrong. You need to clean this up. You need to not clean this up, but you need to, basically, your claim is closed. You need to reopen it again. And I'm like, we're going to do this again? But she was like, no, like, I'm going to call my colleague after we work through our, like, tension of, like, hey, like, this is what I'm really trying to say. This is what I really want to get across. Because she was like, you should know that, da-da-da. I'm like, well, I didn't. This is all that they've told me. I've done everything you all have asked, and this is what people have told me. So thank you for sharing that information, but like, no one told me, right? And she was like, I've been here for a while, so I know more. So this is why it's not happening. So she was like, reopen it.
Thank God for her.
Yes.
And it's just like added pressure when you have to go through that kind of stuff of calling places like that over and over again and talking to a different person each time, and they don't know anything.
And you can't call them back, and they can't call you back.
Right. Yeah.
And so she was like, she said, but I'll do my best to get it figured out today. She had that authority in her voice, like, no, I'm going to do something. And so
she did.
She said, I'm going to hit my employee, not my employee. I'm going to talk to my colleague and ask, see what she can find out. And then she's going to ask somebody. She was like, and I'm going to put you on hold. I might be on hold for a long time because she's in a meeting, but if I can, I'll call you back. But if not, like, just know we're working through the stuff. And so she put me on hold. She came back. She was like, I gave her a message. She hasn't gotten back to me, but she will. We'll figure something out. And then when we got off the phone, this was the thing that, like, really stuck with me. She was like, she said, I pray that I pray that this matter gets met or something. But, like, the words, she said, I pray. And I'm like, people don't be saying that. Not I pray. They be saying I hope. She said, I pray that. And then she was like, you know, God bless you. Have a nice day or something. I said, it's a woman on here.
A woman of faith.
Right. Well, she was already speaking with conviction, and then she talking about I pray and have a bless. I'm like, okay, we might be in good hands. Because if somebody has a conviction from the Lord, like if they're a Christian doing their job and they're submitted to the Lord, I know for me, like, God will get on me, like, you need to take care of them. You need to make sure they have what they need. Because that's my son or my daughter, you know?
Yes, and you are that way. Everyone we tip.
And so, I redid the thing. I actually had another run around for another couple of days, but we got to figure it out. And then, lo and behold, 2 days ago, some money started trickling in.
From unemployment. And we're still waiting.
Praise the Lord.
Yes, okay, pause.
No,
praise
huge
God.
praise. Praise the Lord. It's like half of
That
what
is
we're supposed to
huge.
be owed is in there, so we're just waiting for the rest to trickle out. So I didn't even really want to talk about it because it's like it's not all here yet, but forget it.
Yeah.
We know the Lord's going to do it. And so praise God.
Yes.
Because we at least have relief in that way where we know that we can get some of the stuff that we need to like go, like, you know, packing stuff that you want to get or different equipment that we need and pay down this debt. And and then the same week I got an email from my caseworker for the rent relief.
Yes.
And she had me like, there was a couple documents that we needed to get in. I sent her that. And so on Monday, actually, tomorrow, I'm going to call her and see, like, do you know anything? Have they rendered a verdict? Because, well, they already know, like, that, you know, the sheriff has been contacted and they're probably waiting to schedule. So prayerfully,
yes,
rent relief comes through and they cover all the past due rent before that happens so that we could stay here.
Yes.
I think we need like just this month, and I think we'll be out. Probably, I honestly think within the next couple of weeks to a month.
Right. And if you're hearing this or watching this and it's still early October, please pray for us. Please.
Please pray for us. What do you want them to pray for?
God's will, because I don't know what he's doing. So I don't know well, it would be great if rent relief came through, because we won't, like you said, I didn't know this, but you said they won't give it to you if you're not living here anymore.
Yes. If you leave the apartment,
they won't give it to you.
They don't give it to you. So if you're facing eviction and you actually get evicted and the sheriff comes while your case is in progress, they won't give you the rent relief that you owe for this property, which is crazy because it's just like you're out there and you don't get the help that you needed.
So many things that don't make sense about
government social services.
But yes, I would say pray for that and just continue to pray for our journey. And like it takes a lot for me, just trusting God and being confident in who I am and who we are and who he's called me to be and what he's called me to do, to be on here sharing the story, like sharing all these stories, just and so we really hope and pray that it blesses someone else and helps someone else be confident to not only share but keep walking with God through it.
For sure.
But if you could pray for us to be confident and keep walking with God through it, that would be awesome. And know that like during this time of us fundraising, we talk about it a lot because we're trying to get started, and we believe that God is going to provide for us, and it's going to be from him and through him. But we honestly want to just share the story. Like whether we funded this all on our own, we would still be sharing the story.
Yeah.
But like out of all the things that we've gone through, in our lives individually and together, like we've come to the point where we can't be silent anymore about the things that God has done for us, and just the experiences that we've had with who he is to us, and who he's made us to be, like who we've become because of him. So, oh, are you about to rap? What?
I just wanted to hold it. I want to see how it felt.
Oh, snap.
Oh, gosh.
I need to learn a beatbox. Is it beatbox? Beatbox?
Yes, I think it's beatbox.
Beatbox.
Yes.
Okay. I just say bebop, and like I hope it all murmurs together and sounds right. This the outro. This the outro. Outro.
Thank you, Marissa. That was awesome. Thank you. That would be a cool outro, though. Like, if we recorded it, you beatboxing, me rapping. That's funny. Montana, when we're listening to music now, she says, like, I hear boots and cats.
Boots and cats and boots and cats.
Yes. She goes, I hear boots and cats.
Boots
and for
and
anyone who doesn't know, that's a way to describe, like, production to, like, someone who's getting familiar with it, or with kids, because, like, you know, the kick and the snare sound like boots and cats and boots and cats and boom, 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 boom. So it's so funny. She's like, I hear boots and cats, Daddy.
Yeah.
It's awesome. But yeah, no, to what you're saying, as we close, this is about what God is doing. Like, I will admit, like, I didn't really want to share, like, the eviction stuff and all those, and the firing and all that stuff, because, like you said about the other thing, it's like, we don't, like, it doesn't feel like that's worth sharing. Like, no one needs to know that, because I kind of feel ashamed of that, and people might say that we're not doing the things the right way, and we should know better, and we're responsible, or all that kind of stuff. And so, but then as we look into the landscape of, like, people buying RVs and traveling with their families, it's kind of like the thing to do. Like, oh, we got an RV and we're gonna travel, and we want to do that.
It is huge.
Yeah, and so, but that's not us. We weren't even thinking about that.
No.
We weren't thinking about this. We didn't want this.
I've got a house on my vision board.
She does have a house on her vision board.
Not an RV.
Not an RV. Like, we didn't want this.
We are not trying to be the cool kids.
We weren't We weren't looking at this. I mean, we thought, like, okay, that's cool.
It is cool.
Maybe if we, put some money aside or do something like that, but, like, not with also out of house.
Right.
And so,
because in the beginning, I was like, let's rent one and drive it cross country to LA, where I'm from.
To relocate.
And stay there.
Yeah.
Like, we could, elongate a week to a month, maybe 3.
Yeah.
But that was...
I mean, it was so expensive.
But after, not going to do that either.
Right. Yeah. And so, I mean, not expensive, like, God can't pay for it, but, like, it didn't seem worth all that money to rent one for, like, a month, when that's, like, a huge down payment on owning one, and all the stuff we've had to do just to do it for a month. And so,
and talking to the people is a huge part of that. Like, that's not us. Like, that's God. God's like, you need to stop everywhere and talk to these people.
Yes. Yes. And
so share these stories. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Share these stories. And there's a few other things too.
Yeah. And so, it's not like, so to make sure people know, it's not just like, you're donating to people who's like, oh yeah, we got an RV and we're going to travel with the family and do this podcast that we just dreamed up. Like, no, like, we were scared out of our minds, distraught, not knowing what we were going to do, trying to, like, keep the faith and keep everything together, and, like, applying for jobs, not getting jobs. So, like, what are we going to do? Okay, let's start doing entrepreneurship stuff. like, let's just do our best with what God has given us. And in, you know, in the moment of like, what are we going to do? Scary, you know, get our tax return back. And it's like $100 because we earned so much money last year from that job. You know, just like, okay, what is life right now? And God speaks in and says, will you trust me again? Will you
Right.
trust me? And in you trusting him, he gave us this plan of like, you should do a tour again. You should do a podcast about the tour. You should make the podcast about this. You know, you should make the podcast about this, and then you should give people the opportunity to support it, because last time you didn't do that. Like, he's been giving us all these ideas, and so we want to make sure that we talk about this stuff that feels so vulnerable, about the eviction, about
Yeah.
you know, unemployment, all this kind of stuff, so that people can understand that like this was a God thing, not like a we always wanted to do it thing. Like, it was like a, will you trust me in the midst of uncertainty? Like, he's having us go through this and then walk you through it, and have have conversations with other people walking
Right.
through it. Like, he's
Real
sending
life,
us
not
through
like
it before you do
we
it.
did this last year and we're sitting here reflecting on it.
Amen. Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. That's it. That's it. If you want to know how you can support, just head to the website, tgutour.com. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and subscribe to the channel. Especially if you made this far, review us on Apple Podcasts. Leave a 5-star review. Share what God is doing in your life through this podcast. We would really appreciate it. It helps people find it. We just want this to get to as many people as possible, because we really believe that God is going to help people trust him, you know?
I agree.
We out. Do you want? Okay, here we go.
This the outro. It's the outro.
Okay. It's the end of the pod. I'm liking your bod. That just rhymes, so I said it off the top. We about to go to the couch and sit. Hopefully you still want to eat some chips and sit and talk just for a little bit. Maybe watch something while the little kids are sleeping. Keep the beat. Oh, babe, come on, man. That's like the most important part.
Sorry.
Like, I can.
You made me blush. That was cute.
I can. Thank you, babe.
All right.
We should do that.
Let's go hang out.
Okay, let's hang out. No, for real. Like, let's do that at the end of the episode. That was fire.
We could try again
That's tight.
next time. Stay tuned for the next outro.
Bah, bah, bah.
Peace.